watch Survivor, and when the show ends, you really want to talk about it with like-minded friends. It might be hard to find some, but don't you shed a tear. Check out the Purple Rock Podcast, and this is what you'll hear. John will make some dumb jokes, Andy likes to yell and curse, and if they're not available, the backup hosts are so much worse. Spend the whole time being jerks, telling you you're wrong, and so we got this other jerk to sing you our theme song. It's the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast.
Welcome to the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast. I am John. My co-host is Andy, and this week we are talking episode 5 of Survivor 45. And in the spirit of this episode, Andy, I want to offer you a choice. You can either do this podcast with me, or you can eat a sandwich. But I must warn you, the sandwich comes with a terrible curse.
That's bad.
The sandwich also comes with a free frozen yogurt, which I call Frogurt.
That's good.
The Frogurt is also cursed.
That's bad.
But you get your choice of topping.
That's good.
The toppings contain potassium benzoate. That's bad.
Can I go now?
Okay, keep this in mind later on when we discuss how hard it is out there for nerds, because that is going to be a topic in this podcast episode. But first, let's discuss general views. How'd you enjoy this week's episode?
Oh, yeah. For shiz. John Wine, what's up, homie?
It's, one of the things that immediately got me in this episode is as soon as Keturah came on the screen for a confessional, I just laughed. I beat this joke into the fucking ground. I will laugh every time. I love it. I knew what she was going to say. I didn't care. I just laughed before she said it. I was just like, say the line, Keturah. It's coming. Just do it. Come on. I want to hear it. Just give it to me. And it delivered. And that helped. I mean, 90 minutes. I need some laughs to carry me through. That was it. She didn't even need to say the words, but she did anyway, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, I got to say, for me, for the first time this season, I really felt the 90 minutes this week. It was kind of a mid-episode for me, if I'm being honest. Like, it's fine. And as Brad, I think, pointed out well in the week that I wasn't here, baseline Survivor is still a thing that I enjoy. It's an entertainment property I get, but there wasn't a lot this week for me. Yes, I agree with you. The Keturah Bruce stuff still remains fantastic. I think because I both knew the way that the vote was going to go. Like, it just felt obvious from plot armor reasons. And I also didn't care. That's the thing.
Right.
But I think this episode felt a little repetitive as it was going. And I know some people pointed out, like, we had 2 flashbacks. That didn't bother me. They were fine, It's just,
yeah. Often
when we complain, to the degree when we do, you and I specifically, about 90 minutes, it's not necessarily even that, like, the extra stuff is bad, but it does throw off pacing, right? What a show that used to be designed and paced around a 42-minute cut is now longer. And it's like, I felt, and we'll get into this throughout, that, like, I get it. These Reba people are stupid. It's just like, it's that beat for like a while. So again, like the flashbacks didn't bother me. They were fine. It's like the Jake thing felt pertinent to what was happening. We got to know Dee a bit better. Her package felt a little bit more standard issue.
Phrasing. I think that was the thing with the flashbacks, is they felt relevant to the stories of the week, right? Like, it wasn't just, wedged in here like, oh, we got to tell you how inspiring this person is. It's like, no, this helps you understand their motivation and how they're playing the game and how they're seeing things. That's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I just felt like I was ready for the episode to get to like a challenge or something. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. Especially because in the end, and maybe this is in some ways a good thing, But like Reba didn't lose, like it was all predicated on what Reba's going to do when they lose. And now that's all gone, right? Because we know that they're not going to be voting as those 4 people. Because next week is, not a merge. So in some ways it's like, okay, well, that was a whole lot of nothing. In other ways, I guess that's good in that it doesn't completely spoil what did end up happening in the challenge. But this week, I just felt it was a little meh because I felt like many times, like, I get it. Let's chop it up. Let's move along. It felt a little fatty this week.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like by the time we actually got to the vote, I was pretty convinced of who it was going to be, because I figured once it was that tribe, it's going to be either Brando or Kendra. And then the show makes clear that Brando is, inserting himself into that discussion of essentially. Big own goal there. But yeah, so then once they actually got to the votes, I was like, oh, okay, well, I can see what's coming. Yeah,
and maybe that's also a downside of longer episodes, is that, like, the common complaint always was they're not giving us enough for us to understand what's happening. I felt like they gave us more than enough, It's like There was no mystery by the time we got there. And, like, it's easy to think that there would be. It's like, hey, this side versus this side, which way is Emily going to go? But I never for a moment believed that Drew was leaving the show, this season. So it was kind of like, yeah, okay, fine, right. It's Brendo. So anyway, that's kind of in general how I felt about the episode. But more importantly, I think the episode did pose a really important question for all Survivor, which is, why can't nerds catch a break on this show?
Oh my God. It mirrors the real world, where those hapless nerds like Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg just never catch a break. Oh my God. So too is it in Survivor. It's rough out there for the nerds.
When have we ever seen a big-time nerd, a self-proclaimed superfan, do well on Survivor? It never happens.
I can't think of a single instance. In fact, I must have had some sort of fever dream where I imagined that at a certain point in the show, nerds had such a successful run that Brad Culpepper was like, come on, beefy dudes, we have to team up and stop these nerds because they keep doing well.
And people made fun of him, and he was fucking right.
He was. But, yeah, I mean, I guess I must have made that up because, nerds they're out there suffering. They can't catch a break.
Yeah, and I'm torn to how much to judge Brando for that. Like, maybe he's just trying something, right? He's just trying to find some kind of common ground with Drew. The guy who just loves him, hearing about Brando just natter on and on about Pokemon.
Sure.
I don't know if that was true for Drew. Certainly It wasn't true for me. But I do wonder, like, maybe it is legitimate because, while Brando's been a fan this whole time, maybe he got, like, in his head from, like, the past that there was a time when it was harder for nerdier types, right? I feel like it might be more than 10 years ago, but still there was a time. And also maybe Brando also just remembers the time in his life in which it was tough to be a nerd,
And that could be. I think you kind of hit on the more likely thing, which is what I believed. It was just like, this is a way to ingratiate myself. Like, oh, look how we're similar.
Yeah.
And like, here's a reason for us to make a connection. I don't know that he necessarily believed that nerds need to stick together because they're so often cast aside on this show.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do think that's highly likely. But if he is, it's just like, when everyone's a nerd, you're not the nerd. And I feel like you need to adjust your expectations at this point, in that you're all super dorks for this show, so it's no longer making us special. And I think for the longest time, when there was like one or two super fans, then they could define themselves by that. And maybe now the modern super fan nerd is like, but I'm the one who's supposed to know stuff. I'm going to be the one that's automatically good at puzzles because I can't lift things. And it's like, no, man, there's no place for you here, nerd. It's not enough to be a nerd. We're all nerds in some way. What else do you bring to the table? And
yeah, exactly. The guys that are hitting the gym all the time also happen to be very good at puzzles.
Yeah. And yeah, it's not hard to be a big fan of Survivor anymore. Streaming services, everybody, of this generation, or the earlier generations than the one I'm a part of, binges everything. You can't swing a dead cat around without hitting some kind of fan podcast or some shit like that. Like it's just not that. Back in the day, if you were a big Survivor fan, that really said something a bit more than I feel it does now.
Right. I think the bar for big super fans back in the day was like, oh, I've seen every season.
Yeah, back when there was like 7 of them. Like Rob Cesternino, like everybody's like, dude, you really watched this show, huh? Like I had both of his seasons, right? Including All Stars. It's like telling people like stuff they knew about them. Are like, shit, you watched this show? Like was kind of the reaction then. And now it's like everybody's like, oh yeah, I remember that this tribe did that, and this the colors that are lucky, and they're all they're all like that. And meanwhile, you and me are like, wow, you guys really watched this show, huh?
Exactly. Like we started this show because we were like, oh, we're big fans, and then we realized like, well, I mean, relative to some people, maybe not.
Yeah. And we're like of this weirder generation where we still think this is shameful, right?
Yeah, we definitely do not tell people in our real lives about this.
Yeah, shout out to commentator with the purposely ironic name r/Survivor. I think he also shares this, in which he or she, sorry, I do not know. They went to such depths to protect the fact that they were like streaming Survivor episodes on their phone. That they're like, it must have been from porn, this virus I've gotten. Like Homer talking to the insurance adjusters.
I was trying to watch pornography and Survivor accidentally came on.
Just so much less shameful than admitting that you're that down bad for Survivor. And I got to say, that was very relatable for us.
Yes.
2 dudes with a podcast that are doing one right now.
Right. Yes. Hey, one thing that probably also made this episode a little bit tougher for me to take is why do we keep witnessing Drew's continued success? Why does the show hate me? Why is it doing this?
Every step of the way, I want to feel like he's not doing well, yet he always is. I don't like it.
I feel like Katura, where I'm like, do the rest of you not see him? Are you all not seeing this? Are we not on the same page about this? Are you humoring him? What is happening? Why is everything coming up Drew? I keep thinking like, people are just fucking with him. Maybe they're pretending. But no, they're aligning with Drew. And things keep happening for Drew, and I don't understand it.
He was confident enough, correctly so, that he didn't have to play all his advantages this week. I guess now he only has one, but yeah. If were he to play that, Austin would have had to play one more. And it looked maybe, and I know this was a discussion, I'm guessing more as it was happening than after the episode, that like he hadn't played things well with Brando. Brando's like, hey, why don't we make this nerd alliance? Me and you, and I guess you too, Emily, who's sitting right there. And Drew doesn't take it, which normally you'd think is a bad thing, right? If somebody proposes an alliance, you just say yes and then do it or don't, right?
Right.
I don't think it was the mistake that it seemed like it might be. Obviously, like, results help me with that, right? Like, he won the battle.
I was going to say, if you point at the scoreboard.
But I also think that because Emily was there for that, this display of honesty probably helped her make her decision.
And yet, later on, she immediately doubts Drew when Brando's like, no, that was Drew's plan. So,
and then when she talks to Drew later,
look, man.
I want it to be that way. I do not like this person on my TV. But now, when looking at it, it's just like I could see it being a few advantageous the way he did it. He gets to, when dealing with Emily, I was honest. I was there. You were there. He was trying to double deal, not me. I was being loyal to Austin and you can believe me as a loyal person because even when presented with this opportunity, I was honest. Also, I think it might have had the additional side benefit, and I'm not necessarily giving him the credit of thinking this. It kind of put Brando in a bit of like it put him on the defensive, right? In a way that I don't think Brando was ready to be. I don't know that Brando's type personality is ever going to be that way. It's a bit of a power play. Brando's like, oh, hey, dude, we're both nerds and you should be on an alliance. And Drew's like, yeah, no. Which is in some ways is like, what? How would you even say that? You always say yes to an alliance even if you don't mean it. And then Brando was like, oh, right. Well, now I guess the gloves are off. But Brando doesn't have it in him. Like all he has is like what he did, make up a little lie to tell to Emily that, you know, is at the very least, if not easily refuted, easily enough countered. Right.
Right.
No, I think like Brando, if he was to be successful in this game, would always be like kind of behind the scenes, more subtle moves. Drew just saying that, like, no, we're not going to really do that. I think it put Brando in a place that he wasn't ready to compete with, especially since, you know, Brando's partner in this was Kendra, right? And then it never gets back to Austin that Drew was doing anything double. Like, again, I'm not saying that it was a good play, but clearly it wasn't a bad one.
Again, because you can point to the results and say, like, you know, obviously it worked out. And interestingly, you know, when they get to one-on-one time later, he does agree. I mean, we then see him in a confessional being like, yeah, I don't trust that shit. However, he does do the thing where you reflexively like, yeah, of course, we're good. When it's just him and Brando.
Yeah, and Brando's like offering him the shot in the dark or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But that's kind of what I'm getting at. When it's in front of Emily, he's like, no, I'm not doing that. I already have my bargain. I trust Emily implicitly. I don't need this side deal. Maybe that's a good move.
It pains me to acknowledge this man did the correct thing. I need it to be a future week where he just fails spectacularly and I can be like, thank God. I've been waiting for this.
And I'm not ruling it out. You know, the fact that like he's pretty much universally off-putting for everyone that like I see discussing the show, which admittedly is very much a selective audience. It's basically people who comment on the website I started, you know. But, we started. I wasn't trying to. I was one of the people who started. I'm not trying to minimize your contributions here. Since I'm guessing you literally, you know, filled out the form to start this part of the website.
I did. Did the WordPress and everything.
Yeah. I don't think it's just perceived or like bias in viewing this arrogance that I disliked. So if that is there in the edit, that does suggest that it could come back. There could be the comeuppance. Except sometimes arrogant people win. So I'm not every week. I expect something to go wrong for this guy, and every week things keep getting better for this guy.
And so, you know, all that said, are you thinking that Emily did the right thing then by voting Brando over Drew?
Ultimately, I don't think there was a wrong decision for her. Like, it didn't matter. It really didn't matter. It's more like, why does she go that way? I think because Austin and Drew told her things. They shared secrets. And I think that made her feel more comfortable in a way that Brando and Kendra probably didn't, in part because Brando and Kendra didn't have things to share. So I understand why she made the decision, but like, was it the right decision? Who cares? You know, as long as it's not her.
Right. And I was thinking, since Emily's like a stock analyst, she probably pretended to put a lot of critical thought into it and then just went by vibes.
Yeah.
And was like, I'm so smart.
And it could be as simple as Austin and Drew were first to get to her, right?
Which is another thought that I had, is that they had done better groundwork laying than Brando and Kendra had.
Which is not like impossible to believe, right? Because Drew and Austin seem like we're just more, you know, outgoing people than Brando and Kendra. Kendra isn't certainly not, you know, a wallflower, but I think her outgoingness is very much about her. And whereas I think Austin and Drew, and I'm happy to give more of the credit to Austin because why not? This is my show. I'll do that. Just seem probably, you know, better at schmoozing people. I mean, hell, Drew has that whole other personality that we heard about, right? Fucking guy. And yeah, it could just be that simple. It's like they made me feel better first, and they've done nothing to change that. Maybe though, it's just like Kendra starts talking about aliens again, and Emily's like, fuck this shit. Not
Right.
again.
Not again.
This time I know not to just be like, you guys are stupid and this is stupid. Gold star, Emily's learning.
That's right. Thanks, Kaleb.
But maybe she's like, I don't want to deal with that. That said, like, it is a little different. Believing that there is life elsewhere
Sure.
in the infinite spaces of the universe, I think is fine. I think that's a fairly mainstream position. I'll go right out and say I share it. Believing that they came to Earth and built infrastructure, that part is a little farther down the line.
And so this is the only reason why, like, when that question was brought up, I'd have been like, okay, just let's clarify what exactly you're asking before I give you my answer.
Do they exist? Yes. Are aliens among us? I'm going to say no, but there has been more UFO sightings lately. Just putting that out there. Sure.
You're subscribed to some weird places on Reddit.
Well, I mean, there's also that guy in the NBA who's suspect at this point.
Oh, my God.
Wembenyama does not seem human, is all I'm saying.
I was just going to say, we should make some Wembenyama. Oh, man.
Just call him
Wemby.
There you go.
There you go.
It's like we call the other guy Giannis
references.
a Greek freak.
Exactly. Just easier that way. All right. Let's briefly talk about Brando. And I do mean briefly because I don't imagine there's a whole lot to say.
Okay, first, is it Brando or Brendo? Like right there, if we're like trying to hypothesize why Emily made her decisions, I mean, I think she knew how to pronounce the other dude's name. So if we're like just assuming who is she closer to, the fact that she didn't know that guy's name probably is a good indicator.
Exactly.
Hey, Brando.
And I'm not your friendo, Brando. Anyway, I thought he seemed fine from what little I saw. The problem is, like, I'm comparing him to at least, I was talking to Mike about this. There's at least 3 people on this cast who enjoy making weird sound effects in like their confessionals or on the, like, why? It's just their thing. They just make weird sound effects to like entertain people or the cameras, or just why? There's also 2 people who have quit. One person who might be like genuinely one of the worst Survivor players ever. And then there's also Drew. So really, it wasn't that like Brando was fine. It was just that the bar got so low that it was like, okay, well then you've reached like league average simply by the bar lowering around you.
Yeah, and just on his original tribe, Kendra is all talking about horoscope again tonight. It's kind of funny when Drew was like, I thought she was just kind of this wild girl talking about horoscopes. And she is. That's not how that's structured, dude. You say that your first impression is this, and it turns out she wasn't like that. Not just like,
I was judging the book by its cover, and I was right.
Hey, man, that's why they put those covers on, right? So you know. Fantasy books have a certain typeface. Come on, we know what's going down. So yeah, you had her. You had the Katura Bruce feud. Jake, it seems to kind of this, galoot type. Obviously, sketched out a bit more this episode. So from there, yeah, it was easy to be like, okay, Brando and Kellie are the normies that we can, like, they seem to be the ones that have their heads on straight. And I think also he got a bit of a halo from Kellie. But in the end, it's kind of like, hey, we finally got to see him try to maneuver. And look, it's not an easy spot, but he had the same odds on. It was 2-2 trying to get 1, right? And he wasn't able to seal the deal. His big plan was, I'm going to outfox Drew and say that we should form an alliance, but I'm not really meaning to do an alliance. And frankly, I don't even know why. Why you're bothering. I guess, like, in some ways, get the vote on Kendra instead of you. That could work. But you don't have to propose this super secret alliance. You can kind of just hint around it and kind of get to know the guy, which maybe they were. Obviously, we only see a part of it. But yeah, like he was fine, but I'm not mourning his loss.
Right. First of all, I'm just glad you dropped galoot in casual conversation. Well done. My thought was really he kind of gilded the lily here. He could just simply say, like, guys, I'm on board if you want to make it Kendra. Like, if it becomes clear that Emily seems to have a better connection with the other 2, like, just act like you're on board. Do the woo thing. Be like, us. Yeah, that's right. It's always been us. Just jump right in there and act like it was always cool with you the whole time.
Yeah, because in trying to do what he does, for one, you're clearly surrendering the power, right?
Yes.
The other two are like, good, all right, we got this. So as long as we got Emily, like there's somebody ready to crack. And actually, he seems like the more dangerous one. Like I feel like he skipped ahead to the lion.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Let's
because
go.
when you're
Brando.
trying to outmaneuver them, then it becomes like, let's go, Brando. Was that a let's go, Brando?
Yes.
Well done. Yeah, I mean, exactly. When you're trying to like show how great of a player you are, and they hold the power, yeah, that's going to backfire on you, and it did.
Yeah, and obviously that side is paying with additional confidence that comes from having advantages or whatever. But like again, Brando doesn't know that, so like he's not a disaster or anything because that's like an incredibly high bar to grow.
Yeah, especially on this season.
But I don't know that we lost an all-timer or anything like that.
Yeah. Speaking of advantages, though, we should move on to discuss
the most important thing
saw
in this episode.
Exactly. I mean, honestly, the most controversial part of this episode, judging from the comments that I've seen. We got to the island of mystery, or whatever they're calling it at this point. And when we finally get to the ultimate choice that they have to make, they're presented with two options. They can take shitty amulets or sandwiches. Now, if say you are one of these three people, Andy, which one are you choosing?
Sando, Sando, Sando.
Every fucking time sandwiches. Hungry Austin was right. The conservative sandwich heavy portfolio always pays off for the hungry investor. Why the fuck would you not pick the sandwiches? Like, not only that, Austin's talking about like, oh, I'm starving and I can barely function. Yeah, except that all of the things that you're saying about why you should choose one over the other are 100% correct. And if you were like operating at 100%, you would still say and think the same fucking things.
Hunger was the least amount of reasons why you choose that.
Exactly. I mean, he even like spells out in front of them like, no, I don't think we're going to do that. It's going to make us like all go after each other. And still they're like, yeah, but
we could go after each other.
I mean, not even just thinking with your stomach there. Like, go sandwiches.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, no, as a result of that scene, I now have a second favorite player of the season. And it's Austin, and it's not close in either direction. Because thank you, Austin, for pointing this out. And who knows, maybe in the past, some survivors have pointed out when these advantages are bullshit. But that doesn't make the cut, right? And survivors, like, hey, they've all figured out that, like, I have to say this thing is so powerful so I can get on TV. Thank you for pointing out that this is an obvious trap, and they're giving you an out. And I think people need to learn this, and they haven't. And I get it. It's still relatively new. Community chest isn't always about good things. Sometimes you pull the taxes card. Sometimes you pull the go to jail card. And then even the things that aren't bad, sometimes it's just second place for a beauty contest. And it's like, whoa, I got $40. Whoopee
$10.
Right? That's what these advantages are. It's not all going to be this thing to help you in the game. And this one is absolutely not a thing that's going to help you in the game. Are you sitting here going to lie to me that you're going to like throw out whatever existing partnerships and alliances that you've formed in order to have an extra vote?
Right.
No, you're not. That's bullshit. You only want this because it's an idol, but you only get that idol if you vote me out. I don't want that to happen. So can I please?
I don't want that
sandwich?
fucking heat.
And
I don't want the heat. I want to eat.
And if you have somebody saying this to you, as Austin is doing, and obviously he's framing it from his perspective, it's like, I don't want to be a bigger target, because he's trying not to be pushy. He's trying not to make himself a bigger target for these ladies specifically. But if you're having someone be like, this is going to, this is set up to have us turn on each other, even if you yourself hadn't thought of that and you are really absolutely planning on forming this newfound alliance so that you can have one of the least powerful advantages in the game that, frankly, I'm not even sure how, because not only do you all have to agree to do it, You have to figure out who to do it on and all of that. And it has to be an opportunity in which one vote would matter, which there can be entire seasons in which that never comes up. He is saying this is a thing that will encourage us to vote out each other. What do you think he's going to do?
Exactly. I mean, he just made clear what he would like to do. Also, here's the thing. What if Austin says, okay, let's do the amulet, but let's all agree right now that I can use it as an extra vote tonight to get rid of Kendra Tribal? Like, put it to the test right then.
Yeah.
Well, why not? Like, and then you didn't get your sandwiches, but hey, now the vote's not a mystery at all.
And then they would say, oh, no, because that doesn't help me. Oh,
and then I'd say, why do you care? This is for us, right, new friends?
You're on my side. I am in an incredibly difficult vote. You guys don't have that. Both of you have a majority of your former teammates with you currently. I don't.
Yep.
This could be the most important. I could go home tonight. Let's go, team.
Right. And then they're both like, oh, you could go home, you say. And then they're looking at the parchment again. Like, no. This is exactly why you take the fucking sandwiches, because the sandwich will not betray you. Well, I guess it could. There's salmonella.
I mean,
exists,
food does
but,
betray people in this game, but you know what?
It does
Even
happen.
still, there are a few people, I mean, that one guy, Joe, for sure, who even after they spent post-reward just, with the runs, they're generally like, I still don't care. It was great to eat. It's frankly the guys that don't spend the time with the runs, that are on the opposite end of the spectrum. They're the ones who be like, oh, God, later. I shouldn't have had that extra meat skewer, especially because I haven't had meat in years.
Yeah, that's the ones where you have regret.
Yes. But otherwise, like again, oh, hey, there's tomatoes out there. I don't like tomatoes. Oh, they've been out in the sun. I don't care. For one, that bread looked delicious.
It did.
And two, I don't care if it's do this or don't get anything at all. The choice is don't get anything at all. And I've been saying this a few times, and I want to underline it. The new part of this game is not all these things are good. And I think the show, I don't know if the show knows it because they're so advantage pilled, but I almost think they do. I think they set traps because really they don't care if people are succeeding by using these advantages. They care if these things are adding drama to the game.
And really, it's just like the rats in a maze thing. Like if they know they keep pressing the lever and they're going to get food, right? Like, so everyone's thinking like, oh, rewards and advantages must be good. I should take that, right? And they're just going to keep on doing it, even though now they're getting electric shock. They're like, oh, that seems bad, but I'm going to keep doing it because I know it gives me food. And we're still just pushing that bar. All the rats just push. Every once in a while, it's a legit advantage. But a lot of times, you're just getting fucking shocked and you keep going back for more, and I don't understand why. In this case, it wasn't even like you didn't know the consequences. Like, at least with the Beware advantage, you're like, well, once you open it, you're pot committed, right?
Yeah.
In this case, you know exactly what you're signing up for, and you still did it.
This is not the first time that this advantage has appeared on Survivor. I'm confident that J. Maya and Kellie had seen the other time. I guess I don't know for sure. Certainly Emily had. And even if they hadn't, Austin points out what a trap this thing is.
Yep.
And they're just like, oh, yeah, no, I could really use an advantage in this game. And Austin noticing it right away and being like, nah, man. And look, yeah, he does have the advantage that he already has real advantages. Also has the experience of sometimes these things can hurt you, as he did not have a vote for portions of the game, ended up not mattering. But yeah, that he recognized it right away. Rose, in my estimation. Kellie deciding, but yeah, I want the advantage too. Lowered in my estimation. She was somebody that I was, and again, I'm not like completely out. Like, I understand some bad decisions could be made in the heat of the moment. That's why the show presses them like this. And also she had two voices pressing on each side. J. Maya, I would say this lowered my opinion of her, but at that point in the episode, that wasn't possible.
Yeah, we'll get to discussion of that Reba tribe real soon.
But her whole I finally have something. No, you don't. You don't have anything.
You don't.
The thing you have right now is nothing.
Yes, you actually have 1/3 of nothing.
Yes.
You don't even have a full nothing.
And even then, Austin does a good job. It's like, hey, allies are more important than sandwiches. He doesn't believe it, but God bless him for saying it.
Right.
He's trying. I laid out the case without coming straight out and saying, if we do this, I'm going after you guys.
Yep.
But then, and again, this is also why he kept raising my estimation, because after he's done, he goes after it's like, so now I got to vote them out. And it's like, it wasn't any oh no, I got to worry. No, I've made some great allies. It's like, okay, well, I wanted sandwiches, but now that I don't have them, I know my mission.
And not only that, he shows it to Drew when he gets back to camp, and Drew's immediate reaction is, so we got to vote them out.
Yeah.
There's not a hesitation, because that's the obvious conclusion.
When we first heard about such things like this, that's what happens. Prisoner's dilemma. They're like, hey, you guys.
It's a tontine.
Yeah, that's what it is. And what you do when you have your pirate tontine is you kill the other pirates so that you can get the treasure. It's really not that complicated. And ultimately, I believe both J. Maya and Kellie are not unaware of that. They just think that they're going to be the victor. Because again, I refuse to believe that they did this to get an extra vote. I don't think they did it to steal a vote.
Nope.
I think they did this so that they just saw, idle though, without understanding that's like, hey, now people are going to come after you. And you guys might have been positioned well otherwise to not have a target on your back. That's over.
And also, let's talk about one of the logistical things, because one of our commenters, and I have no idea if I'm pronouncing this right, but Anna4 said, we talked about it in 42, but I don't get how the amulet is supposed to work in the case of exchanging it for an extra vote or steal a vote. Would they all have to announce that at Tribal? How would they decide which person gets the extra vote or steal and who it's used against? Makes me think production knows there's no way it's used for anything other than the idol. Yes! Those are valid questions, which if I'm standing there, if I'm Austin, I would be asking the producers right then in front of J. Maya and Kellie, being like, so just so we're clear, if one of us wants to use this, we have to make it very clear in front of everyone else in the game that the three of us, are working in concert to have an extra vote. Is that what's going to happen? And if they're still saying yes, after hearing these answers from the producers, I'd be like, oh my God, you people deserve everything that you're about to get when we come for you.
Yeah. And look, I'm sure there is a method, right? I also agree that production's like, don't worry, it's not going to happen. But I'm sure somebody's asked, right? Okay, so how would we, though? How would we use this as an extra vote? And I could see that it's like, no, you guys are allowed to come to an agreement before Tribal. And as part of that agreement, you have to let one of you do the voting. Okay, that's nice. It's like, sure. Okay, you really trust them now? That would actually kind of be awesome if they used that to vote one of them out.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the other.
But then at that point, once you're voting somebody out, you've lost it. Yeah. So you're not getting any benefit other than the lulls of voting someone out using it.
So yeah, no, it's only ever we saw this in action. The one person hung on to it forever, and then I think she even still didn't use it as an idol. Yeah, man, they're not all good. There are whammies in that deck, and people need to start recognizing it. And I think some are. Well, clearly Austin did right away, but not enough. Because wow, was J. Maya pumped that she's got something, and no.
So speaking of not all good. Let's move on to J. Maya and that Reba tribe, because I have thoughts, and I'm sure you do as well. This Reba tribe, do any of them understand how to play the game of Survivor in your estimation?
It does not seem like it. I mean, Julie last week had some good, strong ideas. But This week, as they keep talking and the different worries and concerns and all of that, the way they kept just trying to shut Sifu down, that he was probably lying and he did vote for you, without any attempt to answer the question. Okay, then who voted D? These are 2 stray votes that were not for Sean, but okay. I spent the entire time, maybe this is why I was down on the episode, because it felt like for like 20 minutes, I'm like, but you know where the idol is, though.
This was what blew my mind, right? Dee so badly wanted to get Sifu out that she voted for him last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then J Maya offers herself up as a decoy, and Dee is like, oh, but what if J Maya? Why was it that important that you vote for Sifu last time? That it was like, no, we have to. Like, what?
Did you see?
And then it layers of incompetence here. J Maya, you could have simply said nothing. That was an option. Because now her plan is she's going to tell Sifu, oh, it was actually me that voted for you. I'm on the outs. I'm so sorry. I wanted it to be you rather than me, whatever. Now, if he genuinely did have an idol, he thinks you voted for him, he plays it and votes you out. What? You just walked right into that sword. Like, what? Did anyone think through this plan at all?
No, there's no indication. It feels like Dee just chases whatever is her new, mindset. Partway through the episode, and again, I must remind everyone, maybe I don't must, maybe everybody kind of knows this, the span covered in these episodes is like a full third shorter than what used to be. So she comes like, hey, Sean, of course it's Sean. And then suddenly it has to be Sifu. And then it has to be Sifu so much that she's hung out to dry. And now she's dealing with the consequences of that. And then it's like, yeah, but what if it is J Maya, though? It's, what are you doing? But also, Dee, Julie, you know who has the idol. You helped him get it. What are we talking about?
That blew my mind. Like, Sifu has the plan. He's going to convince him with the fake idol. And it's like, well, yeah, obviously that's not going to work. Like, maybe on J Maya it could because she doesn't know. But then it's like, then we see Dee and Julie acting like, oh my God, though. What if he's going to play that thing? What? How are you believing him?
You are party to information about both how the idol worked and who had it. You handed him the fucking hammer. And look, obviously, they must believe either one of two things. One, there were two idols on that beach. Which, okay, I mean, you never know what Survivor's going to do. I don't believe it's ever happened that there were two active idols within the tribe, format. I could be wrong. Or two, that like Austin and or Drew told them, oh no, I was about to do it, and then there were already broken rocks. Sifu must have beat to it.
And then if you believed that, then you deserve whatever's coming to you.
And here's the thing, even if you're like, it's possible that there was a second idol, it is possible, okay? It starts to feel like how everybody thought they found an idol when Rick Devens hid 5 of them or whatever. But I suppose it is possible. We should not put it past the show. But they weren't talking about it being possible. They were talking about it as though it were so. That Sifu has an idol. This is beyond, hey, I guess we should be a little prepared of the what if scenario, but I'm pretty comfortable he doesn't because, again, we were heavily involved in the acquisition of the idol. It wasn't just that. It was, oh God, we're screwed now because Sifu knows we're coming after him and he didn't get voted out because of Sean wrecking all of our plans. Our plans are so solid that we didn't come up with anything that what if this plan fails? What do we say to Sifu? No, none of that. No. They're like, now he has an idol. Well, we can protect ourselves by just letting it be J Maya. You can also protect yourself by just voting for Sifu because he doesn't have an idol. You should know he doesn't have an idol.
Right.
What are we even doing here?
Right.
This is how bad it was. They almost made me wrong, John.
Also, Sifu has this plan where he's going to convince them he's got the fake idol. And then he goes in with some he's trying to find out who the vote was on him. And he's got this weird, vague threat with push hands. He's like, this is the strategy. Okay, if you determine who voted for you, that's great. But how does that actually advance your game? Right? Okay, you can't work with that person because they've already voted for you. no, clearly things can change on a fucking dime because look what Dee just did. She's like, oh, wait a minute. What about Jemiah this time? This is why you and I last season were so impressed with Carolyn, because she's weird, but she could play. Unlike Sifu, who's just weird and has delusions that he can play. It is painful to watch this man.
I'm watching this and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to come to Al Gore's internet and face charges of, see, fake idols work because the mastermind Sifu fooled Dee and Julie and Jemiah. And it's like, that. Look, man, there's only so much I can do. Idiots might fall for anything, okay? And if that's your plan, that's your plan. But there was nothing about what Sifu did that should have been convincing. And frankly, they seemed convinced he had an idol long before he hinted that he had a fake one, you know?
Yeah,
and that short circuits all of the, well, ask for confirmation, or the very fact that you keep talking that you're going to play an idol tells me that you don't have an idol that's actually worth playing. Because when you have one, you real G's move in silence, you know?
Like lasagna. If he shows them the idol, you're right. The move is, okay, well, now you've played your cards. You've shown us the hand that you've been dealt. Show me that note. Like, at that point, you have nothing to lose because it is either real and he will verify it, or he says, nah. And at that point, you're like, okay, well, now I know it's fake. So, again, the stunning lack of gameplay all around on this tribe, my jaw was dropping. Like, what is going on here? Do any of you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I know. I used to think Dee and Julie could be competitors, and now I'm like, I guess I see why Drew's doing so well, you know?
Right. Exactly. As I said, it keeps happening that the bar lowers everywhere else. And so it's like, it's not so much that you're elevating yourself, it's that everybody else is lowering themselves. Yeah. With one notable exception, Andy. And we have waited a long time to discuss this, and I think it's about time. Let's talk some Kaleb. He's great.
He's amazing. He's doing so well, and the show is not interested at all in convincing us otherwise. You know, just every week we get a segment of, look how great Kaleb is, and I'm for it.
He's just feeling it out there. He's just making connections he might not even need to make. Next week, he's going to shout out his Canadianness. Oh, I'm so excited for you. You better come to that podcast wearing like a maple flag t-shirt, getting some free universal health care, eating a donut from Timmy's. Just Canada it up next week, buddy. It's your week.
We haven't had a moment like this since Kevin Durant, tore his Achilles and Drake had to pretend to be sad about it. It's like, this is big for Canada. I suppose since beating Team USA for a bronze medal in basketball this summer, that was pretty cool too. I don't know. It's like Donovan Mitchell, just leaving Michael Johnson in his dust in a weird fabricated 150-meter distance race. So, like, I got all the references.
You have all your W's. Went way back for that Michael Johnson one, by the way.
That might have been for you. Sometimes the jokes aren't
specifically me.
There's some other oldies in this. And we had a guy win a gold medal like recently. Andre, DeGrasse, right?
Yes, although
we had to wait for one guy to retire finally, but then it was his.
Yeah. All it takes is just not having the greatest sprinter of all time ahead of you. Who knew?
I mean, I could see how that would be an impediment,
Right.
For example, does Kaleb win if he's playing on the same season as Boston Rob? Maybe. I mean, really, like Rob only won that one time, which I love how like, people like to use that as a strike. It's like, you get it that most people only win one time, if that. Most people actually win 0 times, so one is actually still kind of impressive.
Right.
Wow, brought that to there. I did, but it doesn't matter. Kaleb, best player of all time. It was just like they keep showing how everybody's talking, and it's like, yes, but the collection of Infinity Stones is not complete. What do I need to do to get Kellie on my side? And at first, I was worried that it might be a little hubrisy, like she's going to be the one that sees through. But no, it doesn't seem like that way.
Yeah.
And it makes me think.
It didn't even need that one.
No, but, you could have said the same on original Lulu that he didn't need Emily.
You know what? That's what I'm saying. Is he's just like, you know what? I'm playing with house money. I'm just going to try to pick up a Kellie while I'm out here. And he did.
And it makes me think that maybe we were too hard on Sabia. Maybe she was right. They were like, hey, man, you could always get Kaleb out later. Maybe not, right? Maybe it was like convincing 2 other people is going to be hard enough. If I need to convince 5 other people, it's never going to happen. Because, I'm not just seeing through, maple-colored glasses and thinking that Kaleb has a very real chance of winning this season, right? That's a thing.
Correct. Yep.
Obviously, anybody who seems this much better than everybody else might have a difficult time later on, targets and threat assessments and all of that. But sometimes those people just win, right? Sometimes, and it could be that we're in that mix right now, right? Somebody's just so good and a bunch of hapless players that can't do anything about it. I'm not saying we're there, but I'm truly not saying we're not.
I mean, Kim Spradlin once had that kind of season.
That's what I'm referring to,
You know?
Boston Rob, when he finally did. It's kind of like that, too. There are other references. And, again, I'm not necessarily, again, Austin showed some wherewithal. Despite her stumble, I'm not ready to write off Kellie just yet. Okay, that's literally might be the entire list. Again, Drew just keeps doing well.
Against all odds.
But, yeah, man, this could be one where Kaleb just runs circles around people. And, I mean, hey, we Canadians at this show do have a pretty high success rate.
Yeah,
in the incredibly small sample size in which
I was going to say a new era Survivor is basically dominated by Canadians.
Yeah. You'll note that I did not bring up any of them in my great moments in Canadian contest history.
Nor should you.
I mean, we liked Marianne.
Yeah, she was great.
Speaking of that tribe, though, so as he's making all these connections, obviously the other thing that's happening is there's still no connection with Katurah and Bruce.
It's just so great.
It's so great. And there seems to be some traction, right? Now it's not just Katurah complaining about it. We got Kaleb. So that's as big a cosign as you're going to get in this season, right?
Thank you. Yes.
Had you ever heard of a push present before?
Of course. I've also heard of gender reveal parties. I've heard of all of these things, but my thought when I hear them is always like, oh, we're doing that now? Oh, let me ask you a question. Do you think push presents are out of pocket?
Not as much as gender reveals. Those are completely out of pocket. I guess I can't have an opinion on the thing that I'd literally never heard of until watching that episode. I mean, look, once she started explaining it, it wasn't that hard to figure out what was going on from context. And
sure.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's alliterative, so that's why it has a name. But it's kind of like, my instinct, much like Bruce, would be like, that's stupid. Now, unlike Bruce, I feel like I would have had the tact to be like, oh, okay. With that.
Yes.
Completely with the high-pitched voice of, I am not on this level, but I'm trying to be polite about this.
Uh-huh. Because as I said about J. Maya earlier, you could simply say nothing. You could nod your head.
Well, there you go.
Make a little sound. Bruce is one of those people that loves to make fucking weird sounds for no reason. Just, one of those.
Yeah. But it's like, oh, well, I hope you get what you want when that happens.
Right. Voice going up like 10 octaves. Like,
and part of me, when I was seeing that, it was like, okay, some of this might just be a generational divide, right? Because that felt like a young thing, on your whatever social media they're using. I don't even know if it feels like TikTok. I was going to say Pinterest, but that feels old. But then I remembered Katurah actually isn't that young. She was lying to Kendra about it, but I don't know that her and Bruce are probably, they are of a different, 15 years apart. So they're probably 2 different generations, but not this huge generational split. That said, Bruce feels older. Some people within their generation are older. And then, some people like myself are just hip to the new lingo and such.
That's right. Look at us just throwing around the slang of the youth.
But yeah, I mean, my personal take is like it sounds kind of infantilizing. You know, it's like, oh, good for you, honey. You pushed so hard. Here's your present. Yeah. And actually, my first instinct was, isn't that a baby shower? But I suppose the gifts at the baby shower are for the baby, and the push present would be for the mom.
And you know what? My instinct is to follow my own advice. Simply say nothing.
Oh, yeah.
I have no opinion on this matter.
Well, I mean, this is my podcast, right? Like the kind of the deal is that like people listen for me to like, expound on opinions. Yeah, like I don't know, it's unfamiliar to me. If it seems much less harmless than gender reveal parties, which are actually harmful.
I was going to say it might be like physically harmful. There have been several instances of gender reveal parties being physically harmful.
But also it's just like, okay. I mean, hopefully no judgment or whatever, but most people when they are having children are no longer children and don't need presents. Like you could just buy yourself something.
Look, I don't know if Canada does it this way, but in America, whenever there's an occasion of any kind, we like to attach some capitalism to it.
Yeah.
A buying event, a purchasing activity, and thus the push present.
Yeah, and you know, this is age again, because like, man, we didn't do engagement photos. That's a whole thing now, and your announcements and prom proposals and all that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a whole thing.
And
now.
I suspect that social media might have also created. Sorry, I'm just kind of now in this rabbit hole without doing any research on it, of course. Of this push.
Do you think the
stuff.
kids like do they give each other presents the first time they bone? Like, do you get one of those?
That'd be pushing presents, pump presents. We're gonna call them pump presents.
Oh,
my
I
advice
started a thing.
would be to not leave behind a present when pumping kids. Strap that thing up.
Oh, wrap it up.
You know what else we should be wrapping up?
Yes, this very podcast before we delve into some dangerous
I
territory.
definitely think we've gotten to that point. You know, the producers on stage just making the hands.
Mm-hmm. They're playing us off with the music. All right, which we're not getting to yet. First of all, if you want to see any of our content, go to purplerockpodcast.com. Join our commenting community, which is fun. I like the people there. One of them I actually quoted within this very podcast. And you can see our fantasy league there as well. There is no longer any social media of any sort. If you wanted to let's say you wanted to take a trip back to 2002 and you're like, how can I contact these people? We do have an email address. You could email purplerockpodcast@gmail.com. I mean, you probably shouldn't, and you probably won't, but you could.
Yeah, I
That's
have
how
it set
you
up
can
on my
contact us.
phone. I'll notice if somebody says an email.
All right.
Whereas, yeah, we wouldn't notice any direct messaging because either I'm on a network that doesn't have it or not on that one as much. And it's actually something I've noticed, and then maybe people, take notice, see how much it's going to affect. Being on the old Hell site was sometimes a good content generator for me. It's just like, okay, what opinion is going to enrage me enough to have a rant? I wonder if I'm going to rant less, and I wonder if that's a good or bad thing. I think it's probably good. It probably wasn't good that I was just picking on people specifically, hoping that they never actually heard it. Now it does, though, I've noticed, gives me less cloud cover, If I'm ranting now, it's probably about somebody that was goodly enough to leave a comment on our website.
And that's what I was just going to say is that, I think people on our site used to assume we were ranting about them when in reality, no, that was coming from Twitter. Now, that is no longer an option.
No. Now, no more ranting. No, nobody wants the ranting. They want to hear me talk about push presents and more thoughts about that versus pump presents. You know what? We should wrap this up.
We should. Let's hit that theme music.
This is the copyright-free outro to the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast.